tell everyone a bit about yourself and what your role is at Exabeam.
Yeah, no worries, Tom, mate. Firstly, thanks for inviting me along. And you and I do, as you mentioned, go back way, way when. I can't remember how many years it's been. But yeah, I'm currently working at Exabeam. Been there now just coming up to a year. It's been a really interesting year, but I'm the sales director for channel for UK and I. And my role and remit has pretty much historically always been around channel, right?
Yeah.
This is where you and I have always crossed paths
Mhm.
and worked together directly or indirectly. But yeah, channel has always been kind of my place. It feels like home. Everything about channel I love. So
So what is it about channel that you like? And for people that are listening that don't know what channel sales is, yeah, a little bit of an overview of what it is and why it's important.
yeah, that's a good point. So channel isn't always as apparent to everybody in the way that we know, but so channel is a route to market, the bloodline to the customer. That's how I define it.
Mhm.
So, if you look at our kind of, or not ours, but just many companies' route to market, traditionally, you've got the vendor, the manufacturer, trying to get their product from A to B, and that B being the customer, the consumer, but it's not quite A to B, it's A, B, C, D, E at times.
Yeah.
So, let's kind of break that down. If we look at Exabeam, us as the vendor, manufacturer, the provider, our route to market then is through distribution. The distributor will then have access to credit lines across all of these different partners, and the partners is the channel. So channel is very much, a multi-layered, multi-skilled market where lots of people are fighting and trying to win business hearts and minds to those contracts that the consumers have got, or those dollars or pounds that spend.
Oh, yeah.
And that channel is, as I mentioned, it's very much bloodline, right? For
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
it's that heartbeat between you want to go from there today, and we can literally, be the mover and shaker that makes that
Yeah,
happen.
and it's a very different sell. I've done a lot of channel sales myself. It's very different from your direct sales approach, right? It's more about your relationship style, enabling the partners, training the partners. So is that a skill that you've always sort of had? You more that sort of side, or have you done some of the direct sales as well? Or
Yeah, good point. So I've done both, right?
yeah,
So I think if people go through, our traditional, online CV as LinkedIn, right?
yeah,
I've got very channel partner centric backgrounds. Do I have end customer relations experience? 100% I do.
yeah,
The reason for that, when you look at bringing a project or an opportunity or a deal to closure, it's never just the case of the vendor speaks to the channel partner, they go and talk to that end customer, and we all shake hands and
mhm,
celebrate and high five. We are on those calls. So I'm speaking to, the CISO, the CTO, the CFO, whomever that may be at the latter stages. But then also you've got those early adopters. So, those that are in the IT network security part of the business, who are those inside kind of stakeholders or
yeah,
ambassadors that you need to kind of work with and align with. So yes, I've always worked channel, but it's never always the true channel capacity. There is always a lot of end customer relationship stuff in there. And even to the point that most of the stuff that I've done historically through my tenure in channel, we do end customer based events, and I
yeah,
pump money, ideas and investments into our channel partners to bring more of those end customers in. Again, they have the stronger relationships most of the time.
yeah, yeah. And is that the main reason? So if you're a vendor, US vendor, UK vendor, why would you go for the channel route rather than the direct route? What are the benefits of going for a channel strategy?
I mean, that's an interesting question, because you will see vendors that have gone, now we're a direct only.
Yeah,
I think they're the vendors that are probably quite short lived. I've also seen them that, people are clever, right? They'll watch this podcast back and go, okay, who's he referring to? Typing into Google the basics of, you know, um, vendor or which vendor has now gone for a channel adoption
yeah,
or approach. There are loads of them that did it.
yeah,
And the reason being is because, the way I look at this, if you look at a channel partner, right? The channel partner is like the CEO of their own account base
mhm,
or the relationship into that customer. They've not come in, picked up the phone, or traditionally the yellow pages, right?
yeah,
Showing our age.
all day.
The people that have worked, religiously and tirelessly to get those relationships, to understand the account mapping,
Yeah,
what's the kind of things that keep the CTO or the CEO awake at night.
yeah,
And they've built trust, and trust takes years, as we know,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Very easy to lose, very difficult to gain.
yeah,
And they've gone through that approach. So when we talk about a vendor coming to market, but let's just give you an example, Exabeam, where I'm at today. Pretend we were brand new and we go, oh, let's go knock on the door of a computer center or Softcat. Here's our product. We'll give you some great margins, get me a relationship, and then get me into that account. Why would you do it? Right?
yeah,
Why
yeah,
would
yeah,
you risk putting all your hard work and tenure
yeah,
on the block. So that's where I think if you look at it from a channels perspective, they're so important.
Yeah.
I think they hold all the knowledge, all the relationships, and they can open doors that we or vendors.
Yeah, almost in a way, it's quite arrogant of some of the vendors to think that they can come over and like get those relationships because they're such a good product or service and go and sell to them. When actually, it's years of relationships that the partners have had, years of trust and selling different products and services that you can't disrupt in one deal or one transaction, right?
No, 1000%. And
So
even to that point as well, which is really important that you mentioned there, is other vendors being kind of a little bit arrogant. It's, we're talking about, or I was talking about Exabeam, for example. That one account rep is selling a portfolio, a suite, and to your point, the
yeah,
services.
yeah,
This is not something that overnight that goes, oh, okay, I want to buy a laptop or an iPad.
yeah,
Traditional days, right? If you
yeah,
go back, you could, if you were, I think, to some degree, a hardware vendor, go and have direct relations.
yeah,
It's just the kind of the fastest race to the bottom from
yeah,
a cheap price, best offer
yeah,
wins the deal. Those days are long gone. And I think that's, again, panel, managed services, subscription, support,
yeah,
and even to the point of, Exabeam being one vendor across 30, 40, 50,
yeah,
but still being understood in that channel.
yeah,
And within that account is massive.
yeah. So before we dig into the details of that, like what made you decide to go down that route in your career? Because obviously cybersecurity one, like it's a great market. I've spent years selling in cybersecurity, brilliant market. There's lots of different interesting vendors and partners, things you work with. And then obviously there are those vendors that have the more direct model, the point vendors, and then there's ones that are more channel focused.
Yeah.
What led you to go down the channel route?
Interesting story. So if we go back to what feels like an eternity, what brought me into channel in the first, or not channel, into IT, let's say IT.
Yeah, yeah.
So living in a tiny talking town of Swindon, I was working in let's just call it a factory, a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was just very much from day one of these people that would always want to go out and be amongst people.
Yeah.
Selling was my thing. I would sell my grandmother if she stood still long enough, and they say about selling sand to the Arabs and stuff, but literally, like, for me, it was being at school and being able to, like, even with pogs, right? These coins that you would flip. I'd always be looking at ways that I could maximize and return some investment myself. So anyway, what made me go into this? So while I was working in a factory, and this is a true story that I've told once before at Cisco and other places, where I was walking back from the warehouse, and trust me, it was really a dead end job, but it was giving me some form of income. Walking back to mum and dad's house, and at the time I walked past and there was this industrial unit, and there were probably about 7 or 8 people outside. Not that I'm endorsing smoking cigarettes and having coffee, but they were all outside it out. And they're like, laughing and joking. And for some strange reason, I walked past, and I think it must have been that I was really kind of like, oh, another rubbish day. These people look really happy, having fun. And I was like, oh, Actabis, Actebis, Actabis. And they were a distributor, unbeknown to me. Went home. I think classy Gary was sat there enjoying a pot noodle after a really expensive treat for myself. And I sat there and was going through the local paper, and lo and behold, they were advertising for jobs. In there, it was big pay spread, experienced sales people required.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's that place. Okay.
Wow.
So I'm reading through bachelor degree, A levels, 9 times out of 10, most people would go, that's not me, not this guy.
Challenge, yeah.
I love a challenge. So I literally, that very next morning, went down to their offices. I had a blazer jacket, which I reckon I probably stole from the old man. Didn't fit properly, but whatever. I had a shirt on, I had trousers on. Rocked up. Somebody, a security example, they don't operate in the UK anyway now, but somebody let me through, rather than the buzzer. And I'll never forget, there was a lady there called Wendy Richards, and she was the receptionist. Hi there, can I help you? I said, yeah, I'm here for an interview. Who are you here to meet? I went, whoever wants to meet me. Then she goes, I'm a little bit confused. Do you have a CV? And I was a bit like, no, like CV, whatever. Like, I'm here to have an interview. She's like, that's not how we operate. I was like, okay. I said, well, put it this way. I've been told that I'm a really good salesperson, and I really want to work for a company, because what I saw yesterday, people seem to be like really like embracing it.
Yeah.
And you might think that is really, really bizarre, just to see people outside of an office looking happy, that drew you to it. But again, it's about timing, taking opportunities, stars aligning, etc. So the longer story short of that was, I was very much going to the point where I was like, please just get me an interview. I want to speak to somebody. She's like, we don't do it that way. You need to get a CV. You need to put it on our website. or email us the details. And then if somebody thinks you're a good fit, they'll come back to you. And I
Yeah.
said, well, if you let me go out the door now, I said, it will be one of the biggest mistakes you made. And she
Yeah.
said, well, I can't say anything other than if you let me, I'll have to get security to escort you. Purely by chance, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. Simon Hughes, he was a sales director, was stood. So the reception, you imagine it, Tom, is here.
Mm.
I'm stood here. This woman is like, I've got some crazy youngster that just
Yeah.
doesn't want to take no for an
Yeah.
answer. And then there's the stairwell that goes up and above.
Yeah.
Beknown to me, sales
Listening.
director was listening.
Wow.
Came running down the stairs. To quote him word for word, excuse me, mate. But I've been listening to what you've been saying upstairs. You've probably got this biggest set of balls to ever walk in our office. Meet me tomorrow for 9 o'clock for coffee. Let me see how good you are.
Amazing.
Buzzing. Literally ran home, buzzing like I got the job.
Yeah.
That was then. And
Amazing.
then the day after I went in and it was this whole like personality test, you know,
Psychometric type thing.
Yeah. So I was a bit like, oh great, they're gonna find out that I've got no idea. Ace that. Apparently it
Yeah.
showed that I was really hardworking, ethical, and I showed all these great qualities.
Yeah.
They took a chance on me. That chance
Amazing.
proved to be really successful. So I then ended up taking what they called the night bow. It was the bow coming in with so many phone calls,
Yeah.
overloading the call center. Hi there, this is Gary from Actavis. How can I help? Oh yeah, I'm looking for my account manager. You don't have one. Oh great, that'll be me.
I look
That was
after
me,
you. Yeah. Amazing.
I was there for 6 years. That was my first real gig in
Yeah.
IT. And Actavis, I mean, not many people may or may not know them, but they're owned by our group in the
Yeah.
United States, Otto Versand. They are very big still in Europe to this day. They were one of the largest Microsoft OEM distributors, and I would compete daily against, at the time, Compute 2000, Ingram Micro.
Yeah.
And then, I built this database
Yeah.
of people that were like, well, I haven't got an account manager. Great. Or is Gary there? Great. After it was 6 years, I love those days, right? And I love them for a reason, because I would come home and I would have to get parents at times or mates to give me a lift because I wasn't driving. The amount of alcohol, fees, to shop vouchers or capital.
All the incentives.
Yeah, I loved it. Honestly, mate, it was one of my best ever experiences in life. Just being in a company where I started so small.
Yeah.
I went on to be salesman of the quarter, salesman of the year again. All of this before I'd even hit 20.
Yeah.
Then they said to me, you've got a gift. We really want to look at promoting you. Fantastic. Then they gave me Ireland to manage. I was going over to Ireland at the age of 20 for this company because we had at the time SharpTech's distribution. They're a big OEM Microsoft disty, but they didn't have a sub disty, so they didn't have the agreements we did. So I would be negotiating some monstrous account opportunities or deals. Then there was Alienware. They were just starting out, the high end gaming company. And it went crazy. And I guess one last piece to that is it gave me an opportunity to something quite similar to this now. It's almost like took down memory lane.
Yeah.
So we were selling, there was a company called Mustech. Don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah.
So these were like when little handheld cameras were great. It was when Blu-ray DVDs and DVDs had just come in on the market in its kind of real kind of hyper growth stage. And we were the exclusive distributor. We had customers or relationships with Ideal Shopping Channel and QVC.
Nice.
We were turning over so much money with those guys. Then an opportunity came. We want to do a 1 hour live set. Can you recommend somebody? I sat there and this feels like completely the most relaxing thing ever compared to that at the time.
Yeah.
At age 20, I was sat on live TV on the Ideal Shopping Channel with a presenter, all these cameras, Betty from Middlesbrough phoning in. I've got a question, answering questions on the fly, live. Can the product do this? Can it do this? I've never lost so much sleep in my life. I've done all of that.
When was this? 20 years ago?
Oh, it's got to be 20 years ago. I know.
So before podcasts, before all this
before.
stuff, yeah? 20 years ago.
Way before, mate.
Wow. You said something interesting there around you had a gift. And I think that's an interesting thing in sales, because I went the other way in sales. My career went to uni, did all the right things, and then you get to sales and realize you don't need any of that. You just need the gift of like, but what is that? What do you think that is?
I think it's, do you know what? I mean, having kids myself now, and I've got a lad who's just jumped into IT just recently, and it's like, oh, you're such and such dad. And I'm like, be yourself, be your own brand. He's definitely doing that, and I love it. And I think what I'm trying to get to is, what is that gift? The gift has got to be open, honest, fair, and fun. Yeah. Right. And people will go, okay, well, you've got to walk that tight balance, that tight line between being seen as fun, but not professional, being liked, but not admired, or maybe being admired and not liked. I don't know. Right. I mean, for me, it's been about having a relationship with people. So everyone you meet, You never know where you're going to end up
Yeah.
next. Right? That was something that was really instilled into me. There was a gentleman I worked with once called John Byrne. That guy, by the way, is entrepreneurial to the next level. He started up a company, ATI Graphics, and then he went on to be global VP for Dell. He was phenomenal. And he made a comment to me, which was, don't chase the money, let the money chase you.
Yeah.
And I went through a stage of kind of, oh, I just want to be liked. Oh, how can I show up? And, I'll be in these partner deals, making it almost about myself.
Yeah.
And you take the spotlight off people. And I think when you can grow as a person and be able to go, do you know what's making me successful is seeing my team successful, my partner successful, the customer going, what a nice guy, what a nice vendor, what a nice company. And then going, let's go and have a dinner just to celebrate it. We've done the deal, so we're not trying to win it. We've won that. And then those people add you on the socials.
Yeah.
And then they start to follow you. And then you go, do you know what? I think I've landed well here. I think I've made a good,
and you're enjoying it. And then, you're right. I think you've hit on a thing there, which I remember those days as well. It was fun. It was, you had a sales floor, you had fun, you had incentives, there's trips. It was like, it wasn't seen as a bad thing to go and be a good salesperson. Well, I think maybe it's changed a bit today, do you think, in terms of that? Or
I think it's changed a lot, because I think what we got away with then was probably not so much what we can get away with now. But yeah, you're right. It was, you kind of look at that famous movie, Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
That whole environment, it was never like that. I can assure you, for anyone watching this. But that feeling of like everybody getting behind it, you know, somebody going, come on, like the bell being rang, the big time, Dave or Joanne, they just closed a grand, profit for the business, or a 10 grand deal. Yeah. They were insane days.
Great fun.
And then I think if you look at it now, it's changed a lot from what it was, but there is still that personal approach and that personal element, right? So an example account, Softcat, Bytes, and others alike. Sales floors of hundreds and hundreds of people, lots of different office locations, junior, intermediate knowledge, right? Treat them all the same. Trust me, treat them all the same. Yeah. Not go to an expert or somebody who's been like an enterprise director and go, oh, by the way, can I talk to you about what cybersecurity is? Do you understand it? Because I can tell you now, he's going to poke you in the eye and tell you to go away. But treat them all the same ethically, right? Yeah. I want to help you be successful. I want to be able to bring you some leads and opportunity. I want to be able to take you and your customer out to an event that we've got, which we think will resonate for both of you. Yeah. It's just taking a step.
I think the thing I found I can completely relate is when you're not being yourself, it doesn't work, right? Once you start being yourself, you open up, and also finding out what really motivates that person, whatever their job title is, it could be senior X, Y, Z, even if you're speaking to the CISOs or the end users, they're still people at the end of the day. They still have families, they still have hobbies. It's connecting to that side of things, which I think you're obviously very good at. So what would you say anyone trying to do that is, if they're starting out in their career, they're the new Gary, starting their career in channel sales, how would you, if you're walking into a Softcat or one of these partners, how would you try and establish that sort of, authenticity, and how would you start doing that?
I think it's that whole people buy from people. Obviously, that'd be the famous quote that I live and swear by, right? I think if you were to go into day one into a Softcat or a Bytes, don't go in there thinking you know all about their business. Don't go in there thinking whatever you're trying to sell them, they need it. And mistakes I made myself. I've got this great product. We want to come and have a meeting, and can you get me into your account? And they'd be like, whoa. And before you know it, it's like, well, by the way, my name's my name's Tom, for example. Yeah. My account base is 20 accounts. They're all in the finance. So, okay, brilliant. What have I done? I've jumped.
Yeah, making assumptions.
Square pegs, round holes. Yeah. For me, and to kind of answer that question would be, understand the people you're speaking to and what the value is that you're trying to bring. If you've got, we don't want to make this a Softcat podcast, but we've mentioned their name a few times, or at least I did as well. If you've got a Softcat, right, you've got, let's just say, 1,000 sales reps. They are all trying to do one thing in business. Yeah. We are salespeople, and I would argue till the cows come home, we are driven by the money we make. Yeah. If you're not driven by money as a salesperson, I don't think you should be a salesperson. We, of course, want to do other things on the back of it, have fun, make friends, make peace, whatever. But when we go into these 1,000 people, breaking it down, like create your own mind map or create your own org chart. What's your product? What does it address? Look at what they currently have, on the bar or on the table ready today to offer, and do your own homework, your own due diligence. If I walked up to you today and went, hey, Tom, I've got a company that deal in leads, for example, social selling, and I think you need it. And you went, actually, do you know what? I've got a company I already use. Yeah. This is what they are, what they're called. This is what they do. I'm on the back foot straight away because I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we'll do a cheaper price. You can win a ski trip.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do you know what, mate? You're crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and there would be real life lessons that I've learned
Mhm.
where you've got to be able to go, okay, right. So if this market or this competition is X, Y, and Z, what's my value add? What's my differentiator? And what we do to what they do.
Yeah,
How can I make he or she be able to resonate with their strategy, my
yeah,
strategy, the customer?
yeah. That's a really good point. I guess it's as well, it's not just it's the individuals within the partner that especially the bigger ones, like we mentioned. How would you, whether you're starting a channel from scratch or doing what you're doing now, I guess in like an existing channel, how would you go about like identifying which partners are a good fit? Because I've had it before where
Mm.
you inherit there's 100 partners, but they're all not going to be. They might have just done one deal 2 years ago. So you need to identify which ones want to work with you, which ones are motivated, which ones want to be enabled. Like, how do you go around that process? Because again, you want to assume that
No,
one,
no, you don't. And I mean, I could use the example that I'm in today, Exabeam, right?
yeah,
Exabeam, you could say, and you know, it could be any other vendor that's in a similar space to us. Who do you want to work with? People will go, oh, I want to work with all the big partners. They'll go, I want to work with the top MSSPs, the top VARs, the top, system integrators. And it's why, right? Why? Because in your mind you go, okay, well, they're the biggest, they've got the broadest reach, the biggest sales team. They've got all the accounts that everyone wants to have. True and false,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think it's understanding firstly, what's a manageable amount of partners for you as a vendor or as a rep or an individual.
yeah,
To give you some context there, I've got 15 strategic partners. Doesn't mean to say the others aren't strategic, but we define that as like a tier one.
yeah,
What is a strategic partnership? It's somebody where you mutually care about each other.
mhm,
There isn't really a conflict or an overlap in the portfolio. If an opportunity comes up that looks like this, they're going to lead with you. Okay, yeah, we'll take you and sign you. And then you are one of six
yeah.
that
They put the
the
options in
rep.
front.
Here's all of our options.
Yeah,
What do you want to buy?
yeah, yeah,
So I think having a partnership, it has to really be a partnership, right? It's got to be where you're both heading in the right direction, same direction. They'll fight your fight, and when you're not in their sales floor, you leave, and then the next day they're going and pushing your nearest competitor
yeah.
to all of their
Mm,
customers. And I think partners have grown to that. They've realized that, it doesn't look great from their behalf when, I'll give you an example of that. When I was in distribution, I could have a call out day one day from LG monitors. I'd flood my account base. Yeah, LG doing a special promo, 50% off on monitors. Great, thanks. Next day, it could be Sony. Oh, Sony have got a promo, it's so better. And they're like,
yeah,
yeah, you rang me yesterday.
yeah,
I just bought 2 pallets. I'm,
yeah,
I'm not taking any more. I wish you had told me. And I returned it. It's like,
mm,
whoa, okay. So,
yeah,
and that's that whole not being prepared. And I think when you look at that channel route to market, don't try and sign everyone up because it fits your narrative.
yeah,
There are very small, and I say small, 5, 10, even 3, 3 or 2 employees that are very successful because they've built relationships over the years.
yeah,
They've got, they could even be best mates or next door neighbors with the top influencer or buyer for Barclays Bank or British Airways. But you naturally would go and think, oh, I've got to go to this company because of their size and stature or because Google gave me them as their number one.
yeah.
It's not always the way. So I think, I'm sorry, Tom, I do have this tendency of kind of adding 3 or 4 stories into one, but
That's great.
it feels like, if I was to kind of summarize that, your product, where does it sit in terms of the end customer, right? If it's across many verticals, great. Understand what is the value add that those partners are that you're going for. What do they stand for? What's their brand,
Mhm,
right? So, and if you look at, again, Softcat, Bytes, very good in security. Sep2, great in security. Computer Center, XCC, they're all great. And then they've all got their other part to the other string to their bow. Um, we're a number one government account, or we're a healthcare specialist, and we're on all these frameworks, so that it's never take your product and squeeze it into every part.
yeah.
Doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's exactly it. The vendors that come over, I've worked for some where they just assume or they arrogant say of like, you need to work with this partner. We got the best solution, but actually they work with all these other providers, which are similar or complement each other, right? So,
Yeah.
so how do you establish that trust? Is it something that happens over time, or can you, if you're a new channel manager today, listen to this and you got 15 partners ago, how do you establish that trust straight away? Is there any tactics or things you could do to, because that's the key to it, right? It's
Yeah.
that trust of being able to know that they're not going to go into a competitive product, that they're going to phone you when there's an opportunity, you're going to exchange leads and things with each other and work together. Does that take time and a lot of, dinners out and like working with them? Or is it something that you can with the authenticity build from the start.
Yeah, I think it would probably be something that you have to put the work in. It doesn't happen overnight or instantly. It's
Mm.
never that, right? If you've got a friend or somebody sponsored you into that account, great. By the way, I'll have a meeting because such and such spoke about you, or you're connected with, my auntie. She worked with you once upon a time. Quite rare. Somebody new coming in, you've got to put the work in. The work involved, for me, if I was to say what's the kind of the silver bullet,
Mhm.
the needle turner is if you've got leads.
Yeah.
Okay. Leads, and I'm talking the leads that are hanging out the back of your laptop. Leads that are not cold, but they're very warm. Most vendors, I think every vendor should and does have monitoring of their website.
Yeah.
So this will be live chats, email searches, or internet searches. When you find somebody and you go, do you know what? I need to get into that account. That to me has been one of my best kind of door openers I've ever had.
Yeah.
Going to, and I mean, you look at how powerful that is. You've had somebody hit your website because you've addressed the need that they have
Mm-hmm.
as a vendor. And rather than going, okay, I've got 10,000 people to go and speak to, flip a coin, who should I give it to? You think, actually, this customer is in this vertical. That partner I really want to work with is a specialist there.
Yeah.
They're not working with us. So when I go and meet Joe Blogs and say, I've got a real tangible opportunity for you right now.
Yeah.
Please, can we work together on this?
Yeah.
And it's everything you said it is. You gift wrap it and deliver it. Right?
Yeah.
And I know people might go, oh, I don't really want to be doing that. Where's the value from the partner? Trust me, it comes back.
It's sort of getting it going, getting the ball rolling in terms of getting it enabled, getting some. I used to find it's nothing worse when you go to a partner, you do all the account mapping and who deals with what, but there's nothing tangible at the end of it. There's no leads. You go out for a bit of lunch, but then nothing happens.
Yeah.
If you go to a 5 or 10 leads to actually get them going and there's a deal at the end of it, great, gets that trust going.
And you're right, Tom, because you use the word there that I hate, and it's not a U word, by the way, account mapping.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
We all do it. We have to do it. It's very important.
Yeah.
Trust me, it is very important. But I think there's different levels to account mapping.
Yeah.
It's like, here's my list. Oh, here's my list.
Exactly.
Brilliant. And then you go, okay, I've been selling to this guy for years and we're the incumbent in that account. And you go, oh, okay. And then you go, well, I've had a meeting last week with another partner and I've seen a purchase order for 5 mil drop.
Yeah.
And you're the incumbent. You're kind of missing the trick. So you do need to do the account mapping. But I think to your point, when the intelligence in the back end is really, really kind of where it's distinguished, right? I think when you've got company names on a paper, but you've got CEO, board level, right? Board level relationships, influencers, a quick look on social, you can see his or her relevance in that account.
Yeah.
Right. And then you as a vendor have your own intelligence you can go and look at. But absolutely, when you've got a lead, not this person on our website, I think they want to buy millions of pounds, but if you're not qualified it, you're dead in the water. That rep is going to go and take 5 minutes of their time, make a phone call and go, Gary, don't ever walk into my business again because you've just given me an absolute stinker.
Yeah.
This guy was really angry. He was asking, why did I get his details? How, again, you want to be so careful, right?
We don't want to fill them with noise either, do you? You don't want to fill them with just, rubbish leads that aren't going to go anywhere. Right?
Business on, right? That's the reality. I think this is where, as humans, and I'm not trying to say like we're old, but, smartphones and information is coming at us everywhere. I have to literally turn my phone off at night time. That's not an extreme thing. That's just like socials, news, whatever it could be. But if you wanted to work 24 hours a day in today's market, you 100% can.
Exactly.
So when you've got 5 minutes with somebody, smash it. Like really, really thank them, give them the information they need, make it worth their while, because that 5 minutes will get you 5 hours.
Yeah.
Then it'll get you 5 months. It will get you 5 years of time with that partner.
Yeah. And it builds that trust straight away. And then off the back of that, then it's your job to just maintain that trust and build upon it, right?
This what, Tom, another thing that happens in the channel, in the partner community, when you've done that for him or her and it lands well, guess what? When they're doing that example I was talking about in distribution, when we're outside having their cigarette or vapes and coffee, oh yeah, Gary came in. Oh, who was that guy who was talking to? You seem like you've got a purchase order. How did you? Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, really? Can you introduce me to him? No worries. Yeah, I've got some accounts I think you can work on. Yeah. Rip off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's amazing, mate.
Yeah. That's the power of the channel, right? If you get it right, it's the relationship. So leading on to that, and you talked a little about around the lead side of things. I don't want to go too much into that, but how are you finding the market now? Obviously, You do quite a lot of social selling. You share a lot of posts. You're quite active on LinkedIn, etc. How are you finding that within sort of the partner community? Is that something a lot of partners are leaning into, or are they still going to more traditional methods of cold calling, etc.? What you finding?
Yeah, I mean, cold calling still definitely exists and will always exist. For me, I'm a bit old school. I think, again, if I look at all these alerts and notifications on my phones, I will say this quite candidly. Half of those could be ignored
Yeah,
when you just go, you know what, pick the phone up, get to the
yeah.
solution, get to the,
Qualify quick,
qualify.
move on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Not send me 25 emails. And when we look at, the whole kind of change that we're seeing with leads and cold calling, I think leads traditionally, right? If I look at LinkedIn, what I'm using it for, I'm using LinkedIn to help stretch a marketing budget, right?
yeah, yeah,
I think there's that. Then there's the audience of people that have followed you through your career that go, okay, I kind of like what he's done, where he's gone, and I have an interest now in the company that he's working at. I can post some stuff and I can have, a couple of thousand impressions in a couple of days.
yeah.
And I think, oh, cool. And then I look at the engagement. What's the engagement? And it's like, a thumb up,
Mm,
hey, high five, or an insightful, whatever it
yeah,
may be on LinkedIn. When you want to kind of get thought provoking, that's when it can kind of grow arms and legs. Because then, I say, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
yeah,
So, but if you start putting something that's more debated,
yeah,
you're going to get people coming in left, right, and center. Now, one of the things on the social selling, is that the right word for this context? But LinkedIn, I made a post on, I think it was the first couple of days back, January, straight after Christmas. And everybody, not everybody, but everybody that you kind of know, you look on LinkedIn after Christmas, it's like, congratulations, new job, new promotion. I'm landed at this company, right? It was rife. And I don't know why, maybe it's just the way my brain works. And I created this post that said, "I'm pleased to announce," and I use the same the same image. And then at
I've
the
seen
bottom,
it. Yeah,
I'm pleased to say that I'm doing the same role that I was last year, and I hope we can crack on and do more. I had people that were in different parts of the world,
yeah.
and then I had some very senior people. I even had
Mm.
somebody from the United Nations.
Really,
Being completely candid, from the UN,
brilliant.
this made my year. Love to connect. I was a bit like, oh, okay, is this a dodgy account? Am I going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like
yeah,
hacked here? But
yeah,
no, it was legit. So, yeah, I think that's worth just sharing because I think it's great to get your information out. There's a lot of self promotion on there, right? You
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
promote yourself and what you do and what you stand for, your services, your business, your platform. But it's also really good for people that want to be able to reach out to you. Now, as far as leads and cold calling, is there great leads and information that's coming from the market? The way we find the best is when we run an event and
yeah,
we invite the right clientele. But to invite the right clientele, you've got to have the right.
yeah,
That's difficult.
yeah,
Your work, right? And I kind of flipping this back at you, and where we worked closely and still will continue to, right? True leads and what you guys do. Social selling done right. So it's getting past all of the false positives. I use the terminology we use around our stock management,
yeah,
but around those false positives is having real intelligence on buying decisions, activity that they are doing, noises they're making,
yeah,
barometers right of scale. This is really where I think it's worth its weight in gold.
yeah,
A lot of people, mate, I get flooded with people in my inbox on LinkedIn. Oh, as soon as I see it, and I have to be careful how I kind of say this, but there's certain words in their headlines. I'm like, we're not connected.
yeah, yeah,
I know,
100%.
I know one thing you're going to try and do, and
Yeah,
that is try and ask them for loads of money
yeah.
to try and get me some leads.
Again,
And it's almost like they're recycling this list of, we've got all these companies and these are the titles of the people that are coming to this event. And you could be part of this for a remortgage.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah,
Not a fan of it. Not a
and
fan
also
of it.
they're assuming that that's what you want, but there's no sort of pre-qualification
Yeah.
or exploratory,
Yeah.
questions at the
And we've
front end.
got, I mean, I've even seen this. You're very right, man. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, like, you're very right because we've seen, and I've seen through different roles, come to this event, I'll give you terrible examples. Come to this event, be a sponsor, 50 grand, right? And you'll get in front of all these people. And I'm like, cool, 55 to 60% of them people are already working with.
Yeah, yeah,
Or, I'm giving you an example purely, or, okay, well, all of those people are actually in a field of work that our technology doesn't address. Brilliant.
yeah.
Take my 50 grand. So to your point and my point earlier, you've got to be able to take a step back
Yeah,
before you go in marching in with whatever it is you want to achieve. Read the
yeah, yeah. I think the great benefit I feel, and with the cold calling piece, is if you are doing the front end piece with the social selling and then you're picking up the phone, there's a level of familiarity around who you've contacted, right? They know who you are. Like if you picked up the phone to a channel partner, they're going to know, they've seen you on social, etc. So
You hope.
yeah, maybe might have seen something, right? So I guess that links on to buzzword of the day is all the AI stuff. And I think that's sort of at the front of my mind in terms of how much of it's like buzzwords, how much of it is useful. What are your thoughts on that in terms of your role, managing a channel? How are you utilizing AI to help you, or are you feeling that it's more of a buzzword in the market at the moment?
Yeah, so it's definitely not okay. It definitely is a buzzword, right? Like anything, it's like the days of BYOD, bring your own
Yeah,
device.
yeah,
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 everybody was like had a BYOD strategy
yeah.
and a product or an offering. AI is very real, right? If you look at Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT and others, it's here to stay. We as a vendor do and have done for a very long time. So it's almost like you plugged me in quite nicely here. Exabeam is a scene company, secure information event manager. We were the first company in the world that implemented what we're calling, or people are calling, AI.
Yeah.
Ours was machine learning. We do have AI as well. Now, as far as, and that's our Exabeam Nova. And what we do is I think AI is great in many regards, where it's used in a manner of helping. And again, this is that whole, we're very fast. We need to get to the now. We don't have much time. So we're automating. So AI is being used in really positive ways to automate. We've got a company that we're working with outside of our technology that can enable our partners who are mid cold call or mid conference with the
Hmm.
end customer and go, he or she has said this, and it'll go, yeah, this is where Exabeam can play, and this is how we recommend you position us. Or
Yeah.
they might be using one of our competitors, and they'll go, how is Exabeam different?
Yeah.
Give you all the information.
Yeah.
Give them power at fingertips, right? So
Mm.
that's really good and positive. We're also seeing a big shift. Us as a vendor, we're using this terminology now, ABA, application behavior analytics. We are working with Google Gemini, and it's basically looking at the missed behaviors, the wrong settings, the wrong behaviors, the wrong kind of exploits that could happen within the AI agent.
Yeah.
So AI is put into many businesses, period. AI isn't going to go away, absolutely not. Our company's equipped fully to make sure that it doesn't become a problem for their business. I mean, I wouldn't say they are, right?
No,
Not
no, no,
everybody.
no. It's
The
going at such a pace. Like people
fast.
are implementing it, but they're not necessarily, mitigating the risks that come with it. Or even think about the risks that come with it,
No.
right? They're just doing it for productivity, right?
Productivity, yeah, that is the big reason for it. I mean,
Yeah.
and if you look at how it can become a problem, I mean, just the last week you've got Keir Starmer and Grok,
Yeah.
changing the narrative very quickly because people have gone and exploited celebrities, young people, and getting
Mm.
different images created, and the computer wasn't told it wasn't allowed to, so it was
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a big risk.
Yeah.
What's to say that there isn't something already, not to give people nightmares? What's to say there isn't something already that's been happening for 3, 6, 9, 12 months, which we don't know about, like that's going to become apparent in the coming year,
Yeah.
which I'll give you a terrible example. Give me all the sort code and account details or bank information of all the people that work in my company. For example, I'm going to give that as an example.
Yeah.
If somebody hasn't set the AI agent and access correctly, if a person in finance or payroll in your organization has been sending such information, this is a terrible example, but let's just say it was pay slips and earnings, right? And somebody and an employee type that in. If the IT team hadn't or haven't done their due diligence around the Outlook integration with that AI, that could be a completely
Within a few seconds,
few seconds.
you can
And
ask
then
any
it's like,
question you want.
oh my God, press the brakes, too late. Guess what?
Yeah.
That information's there now.
Yeah.
Somebody's got it.
So
That's the worry, I think.
yeah, it's very but that's a great opportunity in the cybersecurity space for the vendors, obviously.
100%.
But it's cutting through. I always found with cybersecurity, obviously, there's a growing demand, massive market and growing all the time. But it was just cutting through those buzzwords and the marketing spiel and putting it to what real. But that's a real world example of how it could actually help somebody, right?
Deep fakes, by the way, right? Deep
Yeah,
fakes.
yeah, yeah,
That's another one, right, Tom? Sorry, was like, we're seeing there's sites right now today. I won't post on who they are, but you could very easily, and we had one with our own CEO, Peter Hartfeld. Somebody made it look like it was him talking to us. Why? Because when you and I are posting content like this,
yeah,
right? Don't get any ideas. They take your voice, your
yeah,
face.
yeah,
Now they know how we speak and how we look. Deep fake that. All of a sudden, they can look like it's Gary Reed or Tom
yeah,
going for an interview.
yeah,
We've seen fake employees win jobs. We've seen fake
uh,
people getting access to credentials
yeah,
because of how good they look online as a deep fake.
yeah,
And that again, there's so many bad things, right? Let's be honest. Anything good, like the power of the internet being given as a free gift, let's say,
yeah.
there's always people that are going to exploit it. and it will always fall into bad hands. AI to me is going to happen and is already happening. There are people that are using this evolution and enhancement around tech to monetize, manipulate, and cause badness. And
Yeah.
security vendors, to your point, have to do more, whether that means working together, sharing information, just in order to protect ourselves, our businesses, our kids.
Yeah. It's not
Right.
100%, mate. Yeah. And it's just a start, right? And it's going at
Just a
such a
start.
pace every single week. It's something else coming out,
Yeah.
new development. And what about from like sales perspective then in terms of the partners you work with and how they're using AI for prospecting and sales? Are they starting to embrace it or are they?
Mixed bag, mate. I think mixed bag really around, that example, like Hitwit, for example, they're one of ours that we use, and this has been rolled out to some of our partners. So that's a application on your phone, iPad, or on a desktop.
Brilliant, yeah.
And you can literally just ask it questions on the fly. It'll bring up spreadsheets. It will bring up presentations. It will give you battle cards. So it's instant
Yeah.
information.
Well, that was the thing before. You'd have a portal, you'd part the portal with
Yeah.
all the battle cards and
Go in there and go, right, where am I going? 25 tabs. I have no idea.
yeah. But an AI agent could help with that. It'd
Instant.
be brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good, mate. And yeah, just the last one on the AI stuff. And so, is there any use cases personally using it for, or like within the channel, like analyzing the partners, looking at the different lead generation, whatever it is? Is there any particular examples you're?
So we've seen partners that are using it in ways to, and again, it's kind of cutting through the noise. It's fast tracking. So type in a CEO or decision maker of a company you're going after. That I see every single day.
Yeah.
People are asking information about that person rather than going, and you might think this is mad, but like with LinkedIn, for example, you do a bit of profile stalking and then it's like, oh, depending on your kind of status, they're going to know I've looked at their profile.
Yeah.
Right. Now you can go on to the ChatGPT equivalent. It's more than just the Google search. And then you type in this person, their job, the information instantaneously gives you. And it's like, oh, he or she used to work at that company. You haven't had to go profile searching.
No,
It's all there, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, what are the things that he's interested in or she's interested in? The information that it can pull.
And then you got to do something with it.
Yeah, then you got to do something.
And that was giving me my question in terms of like, me and you've been doing this a long time now, and you're obviously not afraid to pick up the phone and call somebody. But now you've got all this information. I've got the yellow pages you mentioned earlier. You got all this information, but do you think the real killer sales reps would be the ones that can take that, but actually pick up the phone, meet them at an event, take them out for dinner, do the human stuff, while everyone else is still trying to automate every single aspect of it and not doing that?
I don't. Yeah,
Competitive advantage.
it is. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think there are people that will go, okay, I've got all that information. What do I do with it? To your point, there are people that will just take the bit they want and they'll leave other dollars on the table, right? And again, that's that narrative of don't just try and get the easy dollar. The long yard is the one that you want.
Yeah.
And that's going to take time. But my word, it creates stickiness.
Yeah.
And you're in. Once you're in, you're not signing a contract for a one-off PO. You're signing a 3 or a 5 year multi-year contract, and they're the ones that you then renew and then you expand on. So yeah, I mean, you do need to go deeper and broader.
Yeah. And from a channel's perspective, once you sign that deal with that partner, for you, that's just a start, because then that, that one rep's going to start putting more business through. Others are going to start looking at it. It's going to snowball from there, right?
100%, mate.
Yeah. So that leads us on finally to the, I know you've been in the industry a while. Sales can be quite a stressful job, right? It can be quite high pressure.
Mate, I'm only 16.
And we all we mentioned earlier, we were chatting earlier when we were about some mental health and the battles men have especially. But in sales, it's a tough job, right? And I've seen it firsthand, personally. With family members, people I know you have as well. But what do you think is the biggest challenge right now with sort of mental health within sales and the channel, etc.?
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic. So I think first things first, I hate the word mental health. Do you know why I think I hate it? Is because it's got the word mental in it.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself causes a stigma. I think if it was just called, I need some help or something, right?
Yeah.
It's better. But I think it's something that people are very much talking more about, and they should do. It was less spoken about before, but the ones that don't talk about it are the ones I would probably be most concerned about.
Yeah.
Because whether you are a multi-million pound earning person, or you are just somebody that's trying to break in for the first time, we as humans, to earlier point, are under more life pressures than we were many years ago. Information is coming at us fast and hard. Sales is one of the most rewarding, but we use terminologies of 1 year you have a famine and then you have a feast.
Yeah.
Right? You can have a quarter that changes your life or your family's life, or you could have a year or a quarter or a phone call or an email that can kick you in the nuts and make you think I'm in the wrong industry.
It's a roller coaster.
The emotions are nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, the grey hairs that I'm sporting now, they came on very, very quickly over the last 8
Yeah.
years. But that's because I went into different parts of the business, cyber networking, and of course, jokes aside, is hereditary. But one thing that I have found is the pressures of life are definitely not going away. They're adding. Last year, I lost one of my good buddies that I work with doing this role right in channel, Stephen Bailey, legend, and he was always advocating for mental health. And he would be like, COVID was very difficult for him, and he had his own struggles going on in his own private life with family members. We all do, right? That's the important part. We all do. And when I look at mental health channel and everything, right? If you are somebody that's got access to people, whether they're reading your content, whether you're meeting your friends at the pub, whether you're having a conversation like this,
Yeah.
have that honest conversation. Are you okay? Right? It's so thrown around. Are you okay? What's the first response? If I said to you, are you okay? What are you going to say?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
How
all
are
right,
you?
mate.
Yeah.
I'm all right. How are you? You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Move on.
That's very traditional of
Yeah.
how people talk. Imagine somebody went, hey, are you really okay? Park work. How's life? How's your family? How's the missus? How's the income top? How's your business operating at the moment?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, great. We all want to be seen as successful and flourishing. I am, at days, I am like chipper, Gary. I get in the car and these thoughts can run through my head. You've not done enough today. Or work have got the best of you. Your family have got the worst of you. And then you go, oh, I'll give all of my all to my family. Work might think I'm slacking. I'm going to get fired.
Yeah.
Or I need to go to one of my kids' sports days. Sorry, but maybe I should say no, because if somebody finds out at work, if I do it discreetly,
Yeah.
I'm going to get fired. But then I'm not going to get that moment back. And then my daughter's going to hate me.
Exactly.
Like,
So much pressure on everybody. Yeah.
like loads and loads. And I think it's really, really important, that we as a family, right? IT, it's a family. We are all trying our best, whether it's for ourselves, our loved ones, our kids, futures, whatever, our business, our brand.
Yeah.
We are at the end of the day all the same. We breathe the same air. We've got blood in our body, and we are all human beings.
Yeah.
Kindness costs nothing. Ask somebody, how are you? Give something to somebody one day, whether it be a compliment, a lead, without expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
Do something, because it's really important. We're under intense pressure.
Yeah.
And we need to just be kinder to each other, Tom. And I feel like I want to be an advocate of mental health, and I'll let you into a little inside story. I'm currently going through my own personal certifications right now
Brilliant.
to be a qualified mental health in the workplace specialist.
Yeah.
That's not related just to Exabeam. I'm doing that because if I walk in your office, I want to be able to sit and spot and help. I want to be able to understand myself more. I want to be able to understand my friends, my family.
Yeah. That's
Mental health is everywhere, mate. And it's not going to make me any better or worse than I feel, but it's going to help somebody. And that, to me, I think is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. If somebody you meet every day, you could help in some way or somehow, that's a big win, right?
Absolutely.
So what do you think that's increased in the last few years, especially in sales? I think, like I said, a lot of jobs have the same stresses. I especially think sales is very high pressure. Is there something companies can do more to help with that?
Do you know what? I think there's a lot of companies can do. So the first part of your question, it's definitely getting worse. I think it's going to get worse. You can break it all down to why would it be worse, Gary? Well, my view, right? These are only my views. But we are under pressure, or we put ourselves under pressure, right? We want to make ends meet. We want to have holidays. We want to eat well. We want to laugh. We want to love. Yeah. These things don't always come for free. Of course, love can come for free. Laughing can come for free. But you can't just say, hey, I laugh and I love, so therefore I'm going to have a big house and nobody's going to come knocking the door when I don't pay my bills. Reality is we're under financial pressure.
Yeah.
So we all want to be, we want to be happy in our lives, I'm sure. But having more and more demand, bills, utilities, everything's going up, nothing's coming down in price. Promotions are few and far between. People are maybe getting cut, or there's trimming in companies. So people are trying to diversify. They're trying to be a little bit different. These are all pressures we throw on us.
Yeah.
I'm under pressure right now, indirectly, not, to make sure that I don't use a bad word on this, or I don't go too personal or relate to somebody and go, oh, that was maybe a little bit close to the wire. Like, we're all under pressure, right? Yeah. And I think when companies can step up, wellness days, massively important. If companies can give reps holidays, right? And I've seen companies, Tom, please ensure you use your holidays. It's the end of the year, right? If you don't use these holidays, you're going to lose them. Mm. Okay, do you know what? I've never seen in an organization, not saying I've seen this at Exabeam, but any organization, I've never seen one company go, oh, by the way, Tom, you've got 7 days of holiday. It's December the 6th. Can you make sure you use all them because you're going to lose them? And the
Yeah.
maximum you carry over is 2.
Mm.
I've seen that happen all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never see somebody go, hey, you're not taking enough holiday. I'm quite concerned about that.
Mhm.
We want you and we encourage you to take your holiday because holiday is your time.
Yeah. That's what you're doing it for. Right?
Take
Yeah.
all the rubbish and the noise
Yeah.
that we
Yeah.
carry.
Yeah.
So it should be that companies do better to not force the holidays to be taken or lose
Yeah.
them. Talk about them.
Yeah.
Encourage them. Do wellness days. Do check-in days. Have a mental health ambassador or a person in your business who can be a safe space for employees.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about work.
Yeah.
Are you okay in your private life? Because trust me, there is not one person that you and I will not pass today who is having a worse day than us, isn't trying to juggle personal stuff in their
Yeah.
life right now.
That you wouldn't know anything about.
And
Yeah.
you have no idea,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah. It's a real tough one. I think, the main thing I find as well, like being a business owner is, and when I was a sales rep, you could never switch off.
No.
And it's even worse now. You're coming home, you got your phone, whether you turn off or not, you've always got the distraction of I could be doing more.
Mhm.
Whereas back 20 years ago, you go to your office, you chum back, and that would be it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You could actually get on with your life,
Oh, yeah.
but you'd have that break, wouldn't you, from actually
Yeah.
doing the work. So, no, but what you've done is amazing, mate. And you're obviously, doing your mental health ambassador side of things. You're arranging an event as well to help raise some money and things. You tell everyone about that and what you do.
Yeah, that's appreciated if you let me mention that, Tom. So yeah, what started as I guess a bit of a dream. I wanted to do more when it came to, as I mentioned, my colleague Steve Bailey, right? Losing him was tough. Going to his funeral, seeing his family, the impact that had is brutal. Trust me, suicide is no joke. He loved footy. He was mad as a box of frogs like myself, and I loved the bloke. Absolutely loved him. Anyway, long story short, where did we get to? I thought to myself, how can I do something to help his family, him, people in this industry impacted by him? So May the 3rd, Swindon Town County Ground, purely through relationships and connections and just being nice to people that I've met along the way. Yeah, and that's proof, right? I bumped into the chairman of Swindon by chance.
Yeah.
He was watching some lads playing football. One of those lads was me, and I asked him if he wanted to play with us and play a match. He was like, I ain't got my stuff, but I'd love to. I've just moved here. Unbeknown to me, because I'm a multi-millionaire,
Wow.
owner of our here in Friends. Now
Wow.
I've got this event, May the 3rd, Swindon Town, the whole ground. I've got celebrities, I'm working, all the money's going to go to Men and Their Emotions mental health charity.
Yeah.
I started to have a dream to get 1,000 people there and maybe £10,000 raised. We're probably going to do about 40 to 50,000 pounds. And the names that I've got for a guy from a small town of Swindon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Started as a bit of a dream, has now become a reality where I'm kind of pinching myself going, holy cow, we've got some massive names. And when I say massive, right?
Yeah.
These are household names. These are movie stars, sporting celebrities that have gone, yep, we're in, we're coming, confirmed. And it's like, pinch me. These people are coming. And it's a pinch me moment because I know that Steve up there would be like, mate, you're mad.
Yeah.
You've done it. Insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, mate, I appreciate the plug and the chat about it.
Yeah.
I think, and I will say to you, right, you're a businessman. You're under pressures. You're under pressures to be, generating the revenue, bringing home the the
Yeah.
bacon, and having the wife happy and the kids, and finding some time for yourself. But having these conversations, it's really important.
Yeah,
I would
I think
encourage
so.
other people.
Yeah.
You and me aside, we can go and have a coffee any time of the day. You ever got in trouble with your own mind? Text me. I know for a while, Tom, that
No, absolutely,
I can
mate.
message
And
you.
I think,
Be there.
well, True Leads was born in lockdown, and I think that was similar, not to that scale, but we donate money to Mind, for example, and support that. And at the time, I was lucky enough to be able to pick this up. And on this journey, there were people that weren't in that situation. So to give back and help them, brilliantly.
And mate, for you guys, you sponsored into ours as well. So
Yeah.
thank you as well. And
No,
look, it's great that there are so many different charities like Mind you mentioned, and I mentioned the one that we're working with personally, and you probably don't mind me saying this. I don't really care which charity. It's good if it's a charity that's helping to stop the stigma, to stop people killing themselves, to stop people feeling like I need help and I don't know where to go. Like, we're all going to go. And I don't want to tempt badness on anybody watching this game. What's he on about? I'm from a very successful, wealthy background.
Yeah.
I've hit rock bottom once in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to admit that. I didn't want to be here. That was my darkest ever time.
Yeah.
I now feel empowered. Do I have a completely happy plodding along? No, mate, absolutely not.
There's going to be challenges, right?
There's the 1 minute I'm in a good books at home. I'm in a 1 minute the boss likes me, the next minute he's like, Gary, that could have been better.
Yeah.
And then there's Gary going, oh, I've woken up and I feel like I've had so much sleep. I feel empowered to
Yeah,
face
yeah.
the day.
Take on
And
the
other
world.
days, I look out the window and I'm like, nah, I can't do this.
I think it's testament to, well, not just the stuff you've done with your mental health side of things, but your career, and you've shown the power of people skills, right? Getting on with people, and like you said right at the start, is you speak to one person that could lead to something else, and vice versa. And that's what the channel is, right? That's what channel sales is. And what you've done with your charity event, it's led from one conversation to a full blown stadium on that. Like if it continues on this journey, like, and I interview you in 5 years time, what does Gary want to be doing in 5 years time in terms of your career, the mental health side of things, and because this could take you quite far, right? With what the momentum you're getting and things.
It could, mate. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those interviews questions. Isn't it? Where do you want to be in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year time? So for me, my brain is very different to most people's, and I think that's a good thing for the world. But I always started in life going, I want to earn more money than my age. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know if I even dreamt that. And it was like, oh, so when I'm 18, I wanted to earn 19 grand, right? Then it got to a point where, thankfully, I outpaced that. Then it was like, can I double it? And then it was like money, money. And I thought, money is not the be all and end all. The happiness and where I want to be is, I wanted to be a director, or in a director capacity by the time I hit 40.
Yeah.
Tick. I worry about setting these kind of big kind of needles or stakes in the ground, because then it's like, when you get there, then what? I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be happy within doing what I'm doing. I want to work for companies like Hexabeam that are doing great things, changing, innovating the way in which people work, keeping the world secure. I want to work for myself one day. I have aspirations to work for myself.
Yeah.
When? I don't know. I know it's not easy. There's always been that, oh, what if? But I'd love to work for myself one day. I almost thought to myself, just bizarrely, and again, I posted something on LinkedIn and I had people go, you should be a recruiter. Somebody I knew was in trouble for a job.
Yeah. Held them up.
I had so many people come to me going, yeah, I've got jobs, person, give me their details, and they'll be like, I'll place them.
Yeah.
I was thinking, wow, they're all probably making $5,000 out of each of these.
He's doing it for.
Yeah, where do I want to be, Thomas? How's that question openly? I think I would like to be a VP. I like the title VP.
Yeah.
Not to work for titles, but I do want to be a vice president of an organization. I'd love that.
Yeah.
And it's that whole tiny town of Swindon where I live, being on the global stage. I love being on stage. I used to be so nervous, but through work and practice, I don't know how this podcast is coming across, but I am always still nervous internally, but I love to be able to gravitas, draw people in, make people smile, change people's perception of life. And so I want to work for myself, not when I'm old and older. I'd like to do that. I don't know what capacity, whether it's consulting, helping people. And as far as the mental health stuff, mate, I think get my certification. You'll definitely see that because I'm a social butterfly. Once I've done that over the next, I've got about another 12 weeks of study to go. I'll have that certification. I want to, shall I share this with you? I think I can. I have a bit of work that I've been doing in the background, which will be a IT and probably one of the largest IT men's mental health group gatherings that I'm putting together. At the moment, it's in its infancy, but to have people in the channel being able to reach out, knowing that it's a safe space, knowing that you've got the skills, knowledge, support mechanisms in place, the NDAs, the secrecy and stuff. You don't want these people to not feel safe. That's important, right? And I think one of those things that stops us from being very open, very vulnerable is the worry about how that person will receive the news or whether they'll share that information.
Yeah.
And I think breaking that stigma is really important. So by putting something in the world of LinkedIn as a safe space, coffee mornings, regular catch-ups.
Brilliant.
That's something that and I don't know where I'm going to get the time to keep doing this stuff, mate, but that's the longer term around mental health.
That sounds great. Yeah. I think supporting anyone mental health sales, a channel, like it's our community, right? That we've grown up in the last 20 years and made a career out of it, right? So great work, mate. Thanks for coming on and in touch.
Thanks for having me, mate. And honestly, for everyone watching this, Tom Havers, he doesn't give himself enough credit and kudos. He's a wonderful bloke, a hardworking man. Go through his LinkedIn, ignore all of his peacock catalogue photos that he's put on.
That's a phase.
Look at the ones where this gentleman is literally grafted from his garage. He's got a lovely family. He's got a great business, and his approach is really important. I think he's just very hardworking, committed. What you see is what you get.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on. Cheers, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.